Yeah, I was freaked out that I would become paralyzed. We took his temperatures, and at midnight we were back at the hospital. And the doctor was going in between me and another girl who was pushing it. We were competing. Welcome back. We are the Spurlocks, but you already know that. Today we're doing a postpartum Q&A.
Are you postpartum?
Me?
Yes.
I thought you were. Yes, I am.
Wow,
we have a 3-week-old. He's 10 pounds.
10 and a half.
No, he was 10 pounds at birth. He's now 10 and a half pounds.
Right. We're not talking about when he was born. We're talking about...
Right now?
Yeah, because he's a 3-week-old.
You're talking about the past. You just need to get past it.
The future, never use that joke again.
Nice. Let's start at the beginning of the day. So on August 4th, I woke up 7 a.m. All right, these are contractions. It's happening. Today's the day.
At 41 weeks.
Yeah, I started timing the contractions and seeing how far apart they were. They were kind of 5 or 6 minutes apart. But I was like, I'm not going in yet. I'm going to try and labor at home as long as possible. And then they were getting closer. And then when we got to the hospital, they were like 2 to 3 minutes. And luckily, when we got there...
Only had to wait about an hour and a half.
So we got into triage, and the nurse came in, checked me. She said I was only like 3 centimeters, so I was a little disappointed.
We were afraid they were going to send you home.
Yeah, and we live like almost an hour away from the hospital. But anyways, so the doctor, she checked me and she said I was almost at 4 centimeters, and they ended up keeping me because I was GBS positive. My sac was bulging almost 4 centimeters, and we lived an hour away. So they admitted me, and they basically said we're having a baby today.
We're like, wow.
All right, yeah, it's happening. And then I got to the room and, got settled in, and they had talked to me about the epidural. Okay.
So I can ask you questions? How was the epidural? You went into it saying you weren't going to get one.
Yes.
So here we are post.
I got nervous. I was nervous about being in more pain because I was already in quite a bit of pain. I wanted to try to do natural, but I wasn't all in doing it all natural. I didn't want to go in with expectations because things happened during labor, and I didn't want to be like, it has to be this way, and then be disappointed if it didn't go that way. But I started crying because I was like, I don't know if I don't want the epidural, and I ended up getting it.
Epidural?
They did it before they were going to break my water.
I kept telling you, hey, once we break your water, it's going to get pretty intense.
It's
and you're like, okay. Well, it's already pretty painful, so.
Yeah. The anesthesiologist came in. You had to sit in the corner, and the nurse helped me. And I really think, so if you saw the video where I presented Naaman the little pins, you could see my back was super duper hurt, and I really think that affected how he was able to do the epidural, because he missed 3 times and got it on the 4th time. Because I wasn't able to push out. They kept telling me to push out my back, and I was trying to push my back out the hardest that I could, and I couldn't really do it well, though. He said I had a muscular back, but I think it really was because my back was so curved. But he missed 3 times, and it was actually kind of painful. Once the epidural took place, that pain was still bothering me while I was laying there, because it was stinging pain in my back, and I was like, oh man, something's wrong. And I was like, is it okay that my back is stinging? He's like, oh yeah, I hit bone. So
yeah, he's like, yeah, sorry, I bounced off bone.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna sting. And boy, did it sting. Even afterwards, after they took out the epidural and everything was said and done, it was hard bending forward and I don't know, trying to do anything with my back. Anyways, they got the epidural in, and I was still laying there. It was taking effect. I felt like it was working. I still could feel the stinging in my back, which really bothered me. That was probably the biggest pain. Felt like I was gonna be paralyzed. And it's such a weird feeling having an epidural, because I could still move my toes and everything at the first point, but I couldn't really feel my leg.
Would you recommend other people to get an epidural?
Yes, because I pushed out a 10-pound baby, and I don't know if I could have done that without it. I could still feel pain when I was pushing him out. It's hard for me to imagine that being intensified tenfold. So yes, but also it was nerve-wracking that he missed and hit bone.
Sure, it is scary.
Yeah, I was freaked out that something would happen, that I would become paralyzed. The likelihood of that is very low, and it was just more...
So you shouldn't be afraid.
No. You should be more afraid that they might miss, and you might have to get stung multiple times.
Question number 2. Are you breastfeeding?
Yes.
You're not exclusively breastfeeding?
No.
Does your milk come in?
Yes. It definitely took 5 days for the milk to come in. It was basically starving. We did have to do formula for a little until my milk came in, because we were giving him maybe 5 or 10 mLs, and he ended up being able to take a 60 ml bottle. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's a lot.
But the reason we weren't feeding him a ton is, 1, we didn't realize how much this big of a baby would be eating.
Like all the classes, they tell you like, oh, their stomach is tiny.
Right, they were just telling us the stomach is so tiny, so they're not going to eat very much, and so I didn't know what to expect. And then 2, Gabby pumped, and she only got 15 mls. We
After
took that
like
15,
pumping for 30 minutes.
Right, and so we took that 15 and fed it to him, and then we're like, we fed him 15, and he might still be hungry, and so the nurse was like, okay, you know, give him like, let's go ahead and try to give him like 5 more. We're like, okay, we'll give him 5 more, so maybe 20 is a good number. So from there on out, we were just feeding him like 20.
And then at night, the night technician came in and was like, he's a big baby. You can give him a whole bottle if he'll take it.
I think she was looking at us and being like, wow, you guys look awful. You guys look so tired. You're not sleeping at all, because I wasn't.
And he's angry, and...
Yep, and they're like, you can feed him a whole bottle. He's a big baby.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we'll try.
And he ate all of it. 10-pound babies eat a lot.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. When we left the hospital the first time, he was being satiated. He was falling asleep.
Right.
He was doing
That's
fine.
why we didn't know that we weren't feeding him enough.
Yeah.
Because he was falling asleep after feeding and sleeping.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we left the hospital with him like that, and then we came home and he was being inconsolable.
He was aggressively rooting.
So we came home, he started acting like that. We took his temperatures, and at midnight we were back at the hospital, and they admitted us. And
we were thinking that, oh, because he felt really warm. Oh, you're really hot. Okay, that's why you're crying. So we take a layer off, and you're still warm. And
yeah, and we took his temperature. He did have a temperature of 100.9, and then it was 101.1 rectally. So we took him to the hospital. It was just so sad. For 3 days.
Didn't know why he was fevering so high.
Yeah.
This is a 3-day-old. This isn't a 3-month-old. This isn't a 3-week-old. This is a 3-day-old baby.
They were concerned too because I was GBS positive. So they were worried that it was something.
Infection. Immediately red flags were, okay, he probably has an infection.
Right.
Now we need to test for everything.
So they did. They tested for everything.
Yep.
At the same time, while we were there, we think that God was probably working through the staff too, because we didn't know that he could eat so much.
Right.
And so we learned that he could eat a lot, and boy does he eat.
Boy does he eat a lot. Yep. Things went smoother from there on out.
And he didn't have any more fevers, so they were saying that it might have been like a virus or something, because nothing bacterial came back.
Yeah, and we asked the doctor, we asked the pediatrician, us not feeding him and him like being
so,
all worked up,
yeah.
would that have caused him to have the high fever? And she's like, oh no, nothing you would have done would have caused that high fever. We're like, okay, so it wasn't us starving him that caused him to have the fever.
So we were at the hospital waiting for all those results to come back for another 3-4 days. So we're in the hospital for
the first
a week.
Yeah, exactly. The first week after he was born, we spent it in the hospital. And that's not fun.
No.
Because you're not sleeping well. But we were really blessed to have family and people from church to want to come and visit us and bring us food. That was a long answer to say, yes, you are breastfeeding, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we answered some other questions.
Yeah, we probably did. All right, question number 3. How long did you push for?
An hour.
Okay, boom, done. Oh, no. I thought we were going quick.
I just wanted to say his head came out. They were like, oh, that's a big baby. Like, they didn't know that he was going to be that big of a baby. And we knew he was going to be a big baby because my stomach was big, and...
After the baby was born, they're like, wow, this is a 10-pound baby. Holy heck.
Yeah.
You're like, you're being induced at 39 next time. You're not going to 41.
Yeah, anyways.
So everyone was impressed with the big baby. Okay.
And, oh, wait, another thing I wanted to say about pushing.
Go ahead.
So, when we were pushing, the doctor was going in between me and another girl who was pushing at the same time. And we were competing.
Doing everything with you, and then she's like, all right. She ungarbed, and she's like, I'm going to go catch the baby in the next room.
Yeah.
You're like,
so,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I lost. But I don't know if she was pushing out a 10-pound baby.
Right.
I think it's pretty good that I was pushed out a 10-pound baby in an hour.
Okay, how did I handle the birth? So before the birth, people were asking if I was going to watch. And I said, absolutely not.
Well, why though?
Why?
Yeah.
Because last time we were pregnant, or when we had the miscarriage, we had to go to the ER then because Gabby was hemorrhaging. That was traumatic. That was a traumatic time.
And you watched that.
Yep, and they were doing, I compare it to a D&C, even though I know it's not a D&C. But
yeah, because they didn't put me out or anything, but they did go in and like pull out.
Yeah, they did have to go in and scrape out and everything, and so I watched that. I didn't know that I would get woozy or anything like that, but when I was watching, I started feeling lightheaded and whatnot, and I was like, oh wow, I can't watch that, I can't watch.
1 scoop of protein powder.
Wow. What are you putting this into?
A blend.
Wow, cool, a portable blender. Making a smoothie.
I'm making a smoothie.
And so, when it came to the birth, people were asking the same thing if I was going to watch. And I said no. And then people were like, well, you don't have a choice. Everything's happening right there. You're going to see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, we'll see how I do. And so I just planned on looking at Gabby the whole time. And so really, I did for the most part. And then they asked, like, hey, Dad, do you want to feel, like, the head? I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, they asked if I wanted to feel the head, and I didn't want to feel the head.
And I didn't either. And they said, do you want to see his hair? And I was like, sure. And so then they showed me, like, I was like, wow, that is a lot of hair. That's a hairy baby.
Hairy baby.
The hair was all wet, and so it looked like he had dark brown hair. And I was like, oh, he has dark hair. That's interesting. He doesn't. He has red hair. That's pretty sweet. I think it's done.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Cool. So anyways, when it was happening, I wasn't queasy. I didn't look the whole time when she was pushing everything. I was just looking at Gabby the whole time. I didn't want to. That's just it.
And I didn't want to feel his head.
I didn't want to feel his
head. It was not going to motivate me to push anymore.
I was going to feel it plenty when he came out. The hardest thing was the things that one of the parts that I had to look away for is when his head came out. And then they had to, like, grab his head and, like, twist and pull. And that just freaked me out. And so I had to look up at Gabby and be like, you're doing a great job. Keep pushing. But I wasn't there like, push, push.
No, I had 3 other people yelling.
That's really good, actually.
Smoothie.
Smoothie.
This is our smoothie top.
Cool. That's how I handled the birth.
You did good.
I did good. I wasn't queasy or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. Oh, we've already said this. How big is the baby?
10 pounds! He came out a full 3-month-old. He can't wear any of his newborn stuff.
Nope, he doesn't fit any of his newborn stuff. He's pretty long. He's almost 23 inches long. Big boy. Did you have a tear? Because it was a big baby.
I had a 2nd-degree tear.
No. It was weird seeing that they were putting in stitches. I saw, like, the hook is all curved. I didn't realize that stitches hooks are, like, curved like that. She was like... I was like...
And they counted all the stuff. There was, like, a minute where they were like...
We're missing
9.
one. Where is it? 9. Where is it? 9. And then it was like...
Oh, 10.
10. We got it.
Oh, yeah. And then when he came out, he waited till, like, 30 seconds...
Before he
started crying.
Yep.
And they were, like... They were counting. They were like, 1, 2...
Yeah, they were counting, and they were trying to, like, swab stuff out of his mouth and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then they're like, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then,
he
like,
started crying. Yeah. I was scared to get up, too. Because I didn't know if there was any precautions with getting up with stitches. Like, I was scared that if I moved a certain way or if, like, I opened my legs too wide, that it would pop a stitch or something. Right. And they don't tell you, like...
They didn't mention anything about that.
They didn't, yeah, they don't tell you anything about the stitches. They're just like, all right, you got stitches. I didn't know if if I was allowed to walk after because I just had the epidural. But I just got up and walked and went to the bathroom and just did it. I asked my nurse later and she said there's no precautions with stitches. I think it was just, I was scared because there was pain involved. But don't be scared because of pain, because you'll just cause yourself more problems.
Does Elisha cry? Did we say his name yet?
His name is Elisha Matthew Spurlock, not Elisha.
Yeah, it's not Elisha. It's
Elisha. Why did we choose that name? Because I really like the name Elijah, but we have but we have a friend whose baby's name is Elijah. So
here we are. We have Elisha, and it's more meaningful because Elisha is the Old Testament prophet that healed Naaman. Story.
And he's Naaman.
And my name is Naaman. Isn't that crazy? What was the easiest part? Easiest part of birth. Signing the paperwork.
Yeah, signing the paperwork. Driving there.
Feeding the baby.
The morning of.
You actually had a really easy time him latching.
Oh yeah, he latched really well.
It was like within an hour.
He was already latching and eating.
Born. Yeah, exactly. He was born at 7, 8 o'clock. He is already latched and was doing his first feeding.
Right, yeah, which was amazing.
Yeah, really, really big blessing.
Holding him was easy. Loving him was easy.
That's a good point. That's a good one. Yep. Loving him is easy. Nice one. People keep asking me also, like, oh, are you guys taking turns throughout the night? Or, like, you feed him and then they feed him and then you can, like, so one person is always getting sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We just both don't get sleep. We've just decided we will both equally not sleep.
Right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair for, just because I'm the only one working right now, that I be able to get my full nights of sleep when you wake up with a baby. I don't think that's fair. I want to be up and helping you and whatnot.
It makes it go a lot quicker.
Absolutely. When you have 2 people doing it?
Yeah, it goes quickly and then we're able to get back to bed quicker.
Okay, has Elisha affected our relationship? It's only made us stronger.
Yeah.
It's really... Well, I think it's really given us something more to bond over. It's one thing that we're both putting focus and energy towards, and
like a goal, like And I feel like when we were in the hospital the first time, it was the most that I'd laughed in a while.
Really?
I feel like we were laughing a lot and just having a good time.
We always have a good time.
Yeah, but it was like more of a good time.
Oh, cool. Yes, it's affected our relationship.
It's harder. Yeah.
Sure,
But
it definitely is harder.
it doesn't make me love you less.
It was also hard to not have children when you wanted them.
Yeah. It was hard after the miscarriage.
Yeah.
Seeing all your, like, there was so many, like, YouTubers that I'd been watching that got pregnant during that time, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, I'm pregnant at the same time as all these YouTubers, and then losing that baby at that time. Hard not to be jealous of everyone that didn't lose their baby, because I just wanted to be in that season of life, too. And then it felt like a long time that we weren't able to get pregnant again. And
it did.
It felt like
a
it was
really
never
long
going to happen.
time. Right. And I know people try longer than us.
Right.
But
it was all in God's timing.
Yep. It allowed us
To save for the house.
It allowed us to work more and to continue saving for the house. So then we were able to buy a house and be able to
actually have a house when the baby was born.
and get the house ready and
get his nursery ready. And oh, his nursery is so cute. Picture the nursery. Or you can go watch our video.
I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, Naaman did an amazing
We
job.
put a lot of work into it and it turned out really well.
Oh yeah, it's so cute.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about another pain that I had afterwards that I didn't expect was I wasn't able to lift up my leg very well after giving birth. I couldn't lift up my legs to put on my pants. I could, but it was really hard. But like lifting up my hips has been hard, and those kind of like lifting up my leg movements have been really hard for me. And I don't know if that's just a normal like after birth pain. I don't hear people talk about it a lot, but I had a really hard time. If you've had that problem too, let me know if it's normal or if it's just because we had a big baby.
Right. Did Crohn's affect your pregnancy?
Yeah, I have Crohn's disease. And I don't feel like I talk about it a lot because I don't feel like I had a lot of problems with it. Crohn's in my pregnancy though.
You did have more ultrasounds because of Crohn's.
I did, yeah.
You had an ultrasound at 38 weeks?
They just wanted to make sure that he was still growing properly, because with Crohn's disease you can not be taking in enough nutrition, and then there could be risk for him not growing well, but he was growing just fine, growing more than he needed to. So Crohn's didn't really affect my pregnancy, which I'm very thankful for.
Hospital bill and saving for the baby?
So we were saving up until we had the baby because we knew there was going to be a hospital bill.
Right. When you get pregnant, you go into stork mode where you're just saving until mom and baby come home healthy and good. Instead of like right after we did our emergency fund, starting to invest in all that, we just kept saving. And so we have a little stockpile of money now that we can use to pay for the hospital bill when it comes, and we're still figuring out that whole thing and how much we're going to end up paying, and we'll find out. We have enough to cover our maximum out of pocket, so we're going to be okay.
More of an annoyance than crippling.
Sure, yep. We didn't mention that you were throwing up.
Oh yeah, I was throwing up a lot, which I was actually grateful for, because every time I threw up I could feel that he was coming out more.
Yeah, she was actually, as she was all tensing up and like throwing up and heaving, it was actually pushing.
Yeah, they were
the baby.
telling me to poop, and I don't know if I don't use the normal muscles to poop, but every time I tried to poop it wasn't what they wanted, so
They're like, no, don't.
Yeah.
And then you start pushing somewhere else and they're like, yeah, right there, come on, try to push right there.
So I don't know if everybody...
And then they're like, poop!
And I'm like, I don't use those muscles to poop. But when I threw up, he was starting, I could feel him coming out.
Yeah,
so
and they're like, oh, okay, yeah,
if it's
that's
not,
actually good.
If pooping motion isn't working for you, try the throwing up motion. They wanted me to push from my belly and not from my glutes. But if that's not working out for you, just try throwing up.
Last one is Naaman the Swaddle King.
Naaman is the swaddle king. Once the nurses showed him how to swaddle, he's like, all right, you just do this and that. And it took a couple tries, and but then
I watched like many different nurses and how they did it.
Yeah, and he learned all the techniques. He is the swaddle king. He prefers the swaddle blanket over the Velcro swaddle.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. When we were there, they're like, oh, you should really get the Velcro ones. We're like, oh, okay. And I tried using it, and it's like, yeah, great, it swaddles him up here, but then his legs are just like kicking inside of this empty bag.
Legs.
And he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And it was honestly harder for me to use than just the hospital blankets. I love the hospital blankets best. In swaddling.
Because it just gets them real tight.
Yep. And it like grabs onto itself.
And he loves being swaddled real tight.
Yep. And I can just swaddle him up tight, and then boom, he's just like.
I do a great impression of a hot dog.
And even the doctor came in and she undid his swaddle and was like, did you do this? And
Yeah, the doctor.
she was like, that's the best swaddle I've ever seen. She may have just trying to be nice, but...
Yeah. She was saying, like, don't judge my swaddle skills.
Oh yeah, her swaddle was not good.
And we're like, oh, it's okay. We just did that. And she's like, oh, you just did this? And that's why she was surprised that we had done that swaddle.
Swaddle king. Okay, that's all the questions today, folks.
Thanks for sticking around.
Thanks for watching. You should try and watch another one.
Yeah,
if you have the time.
Our
We
organ
would-
vlog was pretty fun. Yep. We're just having fun.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. See you in the next one.
Wait, are we seeing video?
See you in the
I'm
next
sorry.
one. 3, 2, 1. See you in the next one.
They're
3,
so
2,
fast.
1.
See you in the next one.